Good morning, and today is going to be 8-7 suited. We are going to transition from pocket pairs and start looking at some of our suited connectors hands. We're going to go around at least late position play. May look at some of the early position and the blinds as well. But first hand, we'll start off with 8-7. This is a 5NL game. We have under the gun raise, we get a late position caller, and it's on me. So under the gun raise is playing 22-12. I've got a lot of hands on him. His VPIP stat is right at about 20%, basically about across the board. I have a lot of hands on him, so like his raise for sin stats 20% is 52 out of 263. That's probably a realistic number, so I was kind of struggling to try to figure out what is that 20%, and I think it's something that's probably like this. And the reason I say that is if we look at the limp for sin, he limps 4%. It's possible that he may be limping some of these small pocket pairs, 2s, 3s, 4s, and maybe limping some of these, but you know, maybe that's 11 out of 263. Or maybe he mixes it up. Maybe we can add these and take out maybe some of these suited one gappers. But we're gonna go with this range. We do have a note on him where he raised first in under the gun and then called under the gun +1 3-bet with King 10 clubs. So we know King 10 clubs in his range. If that's in his range, I assume that all of these are in his range. And then it's just kind of a question of what about these, what about these, and what about suited aces. This guy's going to be harder. We only have about 98 hands on him. From VPIP, he's playing, it looks like he plays tighter on the button. Maybe that's because people have been raising a little bit more. His raise for stat kind of agrees with his VPIP. Pre-flop, he calls in mid position 2 out of 7, calls in the cutoff 1 out of 5. So, the numbers, the percentages look big, but we just don't have a huge number of hands on him. I'm going to say we're going a range that looks maybe something like this, where we've got pocket pairs, we have some broadways. We're going to say kings plus ace king, actually queens plus ace king with ace queen suited might be his 3-betting range. He does have a 3-betting range of 5%. We have queens, we have ace king in there. That's what we know. And then we've got called 2 bets from blind. He's got king 6 suited, 10-9, queen 8. So I do think suited connected hands he may be playing. Now it's on us. Button versus early position looks something like this. So we don't have a guaranteed 3-betting range, at least not 3-betting for value range. We've got a 3-better call range, and I don't consider him tight at all. So we've got a 3-better call range, and question is, if we 3-bet, are we going to get both players to fold? Maybe. I think the 3-bet would be we would be at the bottom of our range here. It's speculative hand. We're in position. We're going to be in position throughout the hand, and we've got deep stacks here. So while I think we can 3-bet, we could also call and see a flop in position and see how it goes. We do run the chance of letting one of the blinds call, which they do incidentally. Not both of them, just one. So we would go multi-way, but I think our hand could play in multi-way pot fairly well. We have a lot of ways to catch, so I don't mind calling here. I think that's okay. And then we get the small blind calling behind. So small blind's playing 22-8, 0 out of 28-21 for 3-bet. We have a note here that called 3-bets, called 2 bets from the blinds range ace king. So that kind of helps. Instead of saying like queens plus ace king, for his 3-betting range, I'm just going to say kings and aces, and maybe even kings and aces. Maybe kings is 50%, but we're going to do pocket pair. We're going to do some of our strong suited connectors. We'll do like 9-10 plus, and some of our suited broadways, and go on. So we see a flop, ace 6-5 with the spade, which it really isn't too bad. Now there is probably a good chance that somebody hit this board with the ace. And then our question is, would we be able to get a fold from them at some point, or would we be forced to actually improve our hand? So under the gun player checks, or first player in checks, under the gun checks. So here is our first player. He chose not to bet. I don't think he has a set. I don't think he has two pair. I don't think he really has top pair. But what I'm gonna do is say, I'm gonna eliminate like the strong. Oops, that's what I want. I'm gonna eliminate the strong, the top pair with good kicker. I think I'm gonna leave ace 10 in there. I expect ace king to bet. I expect ace queen to bet. Ace jack is kind of where our cutoff is, and we'll just say we'll allow him to check. So that means maybe under pair he's going to check, middle pair he's going to check, no made hand he's going to check, and so forth. Maybe he doesn't do open-ended straight draws. So I'm just going to X out the open-ender because he does c-bet, 55 to 60% of the time. Just kind of depends in position or out. So I'm going to eliminate that. And I'm going to say that is his range. So he's looking a little bit weak. And then villain 4 checks too. And the question is, would he check behind after? Would he check like a set or a top pair hand after this guy checks? I'm going to say no. Maybe the top pair checks, but I think a set is probably going to be calling here. I think open-ender is probably going to call, but I think that's the no made hand, so we're going to give him 95%. So it's on us. What do? We actually have a pretty decent hand. We've got backdoor flush draw, we've got a cut shot straight draw, and I think this could be a one where if he went out with c-bet, or if someone donked, we could easily come in with a raise and play strongly. I think we have any spades going to improve our hand, so we could barrel on a spade. I think we could do any twos. 2-3 is questionable, but a 4 is going to be good. We don't have a shot. We have an open ender. Maybe a 2-3. You could say a 2 is going to look good. 3 is going to be less good. 4 is going to be good. A 7 is going to be good. 8 is going to be less good, but 9 is going to be good. So we have a lot of hand, and we have the spade. So we have a lot of cards that could come that would allow us to barrel. And if a non-favorable card comes, so let's say an ace, a king, a queen, a jack, we could easily check behind, because if we raise, I suspect people will check to us. That didn't happen because everyone checks to us. So what do we do? Do we bet? Do we just do we bet and take the flop card, or do we check and take the turn card, or do we bet? So I kind of feel like a set's gonna probably bet. I think top pair's probably gonna bet. Actually, ace jack, ace 10's probably not. I think we're gonna check that behind. I don't think we really want to build a super big pot. I think if we check the ace jack, ace 10, we may be able to get like the ace 9, ace 8 to bet, and we get some value. And we're not really super strong. I mean, we're multi-way here. But yeah, I think a set's gonna bet, and then we have to offset it with probably the open ender. So I kind of feel like maybe we're gonna miss something if we didn't bet. And again, in a multi-way pot, it's possibly okay if we just checked it and not worried and just went to the turn. I don't know, maybe we could also bet these under pairs and be aggressive. Yeah. Interesting. So I bet. And yeah, I was just thinking these under pairs, maybe we could bet, add these to kind of increase our range, because no one's really showing any sort of promise. And again, we do have open ender. We've got backdoor. I think there's a lot of cards that we can continue with. So yeah, maybe we do expand our range, and I do think top pair though. Maybe we go for some value. These under pairs, I think we could go for some value in the middle pair. We're starting to kind of really get some weaker hands. I think somebody's going to have that. Going to have that ace. We're just being aggressive, so it is what it is. Both players, so both of these players fold, and we get the 1. So this guy, again, they could be, it's all weak. This guy was weak, and then this guy calls, and the question is, what is he gonna check call? Maybe he includes the set. I think we're gonna include the set and say maybe he check raises it. We're gonna include these pairs since I am in position. And then that's about it. So definitely we're probably behind, but we really need one of those cards to double barrel. So the 10 comes out. That's not a double barreling range. I think at this point we're just gonna have to check behind. I think we're just gonna have to check behind. I don't think we're gonna have much fold equity. So I do expect villain to check everything 100%. Now we get to us. We did not improve our range, so I would definitely bet our set. Oops. I would continue betting our set. I would be betting 2 pair, continue to bet 2 pair. I think with top pair, I would probably continue betting because villain himself could possibly be on, you know, like queen or jack that might not believe us, maybe. Or like a ace with a weaker kicker. I kind of expect him to raise. You know, you expect him to raise. I think he's got ace king, ace queen in his range, but he could also have, you know, a weaker ace, maybe. I mean, not based on his range. I guess we don't. So maybe top pair's a check, pocket pair below top card's a check. So all of these just now just become a check. And I think what we would do is look up some of these, like probably like 9-8 could be a bet here as our bluff. But I think our open ender, I think we just check behind. I think we try to get some more value because I don't see villain folding much. If we bet again, but he could. We've already just kind of, that's 60%, or 55%. All right, so I'm glad we checked. 6 of diamond comes out. I don't think we're going to be able to get a fold. He checks again. I think at this point we're going off. I think I would expect quads and a full house to be betting here. So I think we're looking realistically at this range. So that's 89%. If I bet, I just don't think he's going to be folding anything, maybe 7s, 8s, and 9s, and even then he could bluff catch because I kind of gave up on the turn by not betting. I think with my range, I would be betting 3 of a kind here, and I would be betting top pair at this point. But I think jacks, we have some showdown value. Weak pair, we have some showdown value. I mean, not much. I think the weak pair would really just, we'll have to use some of those as a bluff at some point. So I did check behind. He shows ace king, so this was the hand where he had ace king, and it's good to know. I didn't, you know, I really wouldn't have put ace king in his range. I think a lot of people would have just 3-bet, but I guess after 2 calls, that's not what happens. So overall, I don't really mind this play. I think we have options. We could have raised it, or I should say 3-bet it pre-flop. I think we could have checked the flop. But I would say if we check the flop, I think it's going to be harder for us to bet the turn and the river and get folds. So I think our fold equity goes down a little bit. We do have to be aware that our raise or our bet on the flop probably isn't going to get as much folds as if we had raised it pre-flop, just because we called. We're going to have a weaker range, weaker overall range. We lost the hand. We took notes. We already have notes on this player on what he played. So I'm just going to go through and write up my analysis of the hand and look tomorrow for doing another hand. Hope you enjoyed it.